Alright, today's demo is going to focus on the Triphase oscillator from New Systems Instruments and a handful of modules from 4MS, the shaped dual envelope VCA, the envelope VCA, the mini peg, and the shuffling clock multiplier. Also going to use the dual looping delay here. So I know I've talked about the shaped dual envelope VCA quite a bit on the show and have expressed to you all that it's one of my favorite CV sources of all time, but I haven't really shown or told you why. So that's going to be one of the main kind of goals of this video. Also just to show how well the mini peg SCM, shaped dual envelope VCA, and the envelope VCA work together. It's just I don't just keep them in for demos. These are all like mainstays now. Speaking of mainstays, I want to give a shout out to Bastel and Casper. This Aikido dynamic VCA mixer is absolutely amazing. So we're going to use that today. Before we get into this video, I do also want to give a shout out to Mordax for sending me this data. It's such a useful tool, and it's going to be absolutely essential for explaining why I love the shaped dual envelope VCA so much. I also think it's a really useful tool for people who are maybe new to modular or CV signals in general. To have a visual representation is extraordinarily helpful. And then finally, I want to just give a shout out to ALM Busy Circuits for the ASQ1 sequencer. I bought this the other day at Patchworks and I absolutely love it. And if you've been listening to the show long enough, you know that I have probably erroneously not had a sequencer for a really long time other than just random stuff. And I think it's because, you know, I've always said I didn't like writing sequences on modules, and that's true. But the ASQ makes writing sequences really fun because I can play them into it, and then that's how I write them. Because I'm more of a player than a programmer. Okay, so this I'm not going to be able to walk you through absolutely everything that's going on in this patch without it taking like an hour, and I think everybody would get bored, and that's just not ideal. So I'm going to put some pretty detailed patch notes in the show description. So the end of rise on the mini peg is a gate that is triggering the channel A on the shaped dual envelope VCA, and then the end of rise on the shaped dual envelope VCA is triggering the B envelope, and then the end of fall on the B envelope is triggering the envelope VCA. So you can see it's kind of a cascading of triggers. And then they're all modulating each other in some shape or form. What's cool about the shaped dual envelope VCA is you can change them in real time. A lot of envelopes that you can change the shape of, they will take that new shape after the cycle is done. This will actually change its shape throughout its cycle, and that's one of the main reasons I really like it. And if you don't have anything going into the VCA CV ends on them, then the envelope is what's opening the VCA. So I'm actually sending, I'm sending them all to each other and then out to various places. So lots of crazy control, and this crazy control is going to be messing with the phase of the three oscillators on the Triphase oscillator, as well as the sidechain and VCA control on the Aikido. Okay, so now I'm going to get the sequence started. I've got all of the attenuverters turned down, hopefully, on all of our modules here, so we can just see and hear their straight up signals with no CV. So let's get this going. And this is just the first oscillator on the Triphase. So the mix output from Triphase into channel A of the Aikido VCA mixer, and then I've got the gate from the ASQ1 sequencer into the sidechain in, and that's what's opening that's what's basically opening this VCA, but more in a sidechain way. I don't need an envelope with a sidechain input here on the Aikido. And then that's going into the input A of the dual looping delay, and then the A and B outputs from that going into the B and C outputs of Aikido, so we can hear some delay there, but I'm not going to add that quite yet. So let's bring our other oscillators into the mix from the Triphase. Okay, so that's just some pretty plain Jane stuff going on here. But let's start introducing the modulation from the shape dual envelope VCA into the 3 oscillators phase on the triphase. So it's going to be output A, B, and then the OR output here. So the top 3 lines on the Mordax data, that's what's going to be messing with the phase here. And then another thing that I really, really love, I don't know why, but this triphase oscillator sounds so good when you put a really fast LFO into the FM input. All right, so now let's start introducing some CV control over the envelopes that are controlling the triphase. So first up, I'm going to start changing the shape of the envelope A, but before I turn up that attenuverter, just look at the green line on the Mordax data as I change it manually. So what's really cool about the shape dual envelope VCA is these envelopes change as they're cycling. A lot of envelopes that you can shape will take on their new shape after the cycle is complete, but these change within their cycle, which is one of the reasons I love it so much. So let's just put it all the way to the right with a nice big wide shape, and then use an attenuverter to introduce some negative CV in there to move it over. So you can already hear the characteristic of the patch changing while I turn that attenuverter up. So let's do the same for the B output. I'm going to do the exact opposite, basically just push this all the way to the left so it's a nice little thin spike, and then I'm going to turn some CV up to change that shape. And again, you can hear the character of the patch changing. And now, not only can we control the shape of these envelopes, we can control their rise and fall time. So let's attenuate the rise and fall time of channel A and then B. If you're not watching the video, if you're just listening, I have the A and B channel kind of set up in like mirror images of each other, as far as the shape, the rise and fall time, the CV going into them, and how the attenuverters are all positioned. Okay, so I'm also running an LFO from the quad LFO from New Systems into the follower on the just the envelope VCA. So let's change the rise and fall time here as well. So the envelope VCA, it's not controlling any aspect of the triphase oscillator, but what it is doing is controlling the rise and fall time of the shape dual envelope VCA's A channel, and then just its regular normal output is changing the shape of the pingable envelope generator output. And then the pingable envelope generator output is actually is changing the time of the envelope VCA. So again, I'll put like some detailed notes because there's a lot of stuff going on here. I've also got the mini peg going into the VCA of the envelope VCA. So as you can see, you can just get like between these 3 modules, these 3 envelope generator VCA modules, you can spread CV out and just get all sorts of crazy shapes and whatnot. Let's turn some delay up now on the DLD just to get things sounding a little bit more exciting. I'm gonna add some reverb as well from the Aurora that's off screen. Just a little standard big reverb. Let's see, what else can I tell you about? Oh yeah, let's send some of these envelopes that we're using to control this patch now into the VCA controls of the Aikido. So I'm going to turn both channels down because I'm going to do basically another mirror image thing. So the A output, I'm going to turn the volume up on this, but then I'm going to send an envelope into it and use the attenuverter to turn that into a negative voltage, so it'll do some ducking. So that is the A output on the shaped dual envelope VCA that's providing that ducking. And I'm going to turn that down really quick just to show you. I'm going to do the opposite with the B output. I'm going to turn the volume fader up just a little, but then use the B output from the shaped dual envelope VCA to turn this up via the VCA. And now I'm going to do both together. And now I'm going to turn the, basically I'm just going to turn all of the modulation up on the on all the attenuverters, on the envelopes, as well as the triphase oscillator here. Sometimes all the way up is not better, so I'm going to dial those down again. And that's why I love all these modules so much. For more information, please visit the information in the show description down below.